First game of the day, Mousesports taking on Complexity, and we are ready to see what Mousesports have to offer in the server. Also, Complexity, who find themselves in Europe competing in the EU lands. Of course, having their chips stacked up against Mousesports right to begin this tournament, right to begin Group B. Well, I could say things could be worse. Right now, yeah, they can always be worse. I've got Christine with me, and I do have Halvor with me, and we're ready to talk a little counter. And moreover, we're going to start with that of Mousesports. Now, I feel like this is a team that has been talked about, that has been praised, that has been built up. But then now we look at them, where are they? It seems like a little bit of a backslide has happened.
Yeah, I mean, they haven't necessarily been delivering to the same, I guess, expectation as we had for them. Obviously, they ended 2019 in an exceptional fashion and also started it pretty decently as well. But I mean, looking at the last maybe month and a half or so, it hasn't felt like the same kind of Mousesports. A lot more oopsies, a lot more close games than you would have imagined. Best of 3 series not getting closed out and whatnot, and actually being in danger of being lost. I think they're in like this weird stage right now where they haven't quite been able to reinvent or reinvigorate themselves, and other teams are taking advantage.
Christine, what's your take?
I have to agree. I think, although I do think Mousesports are still in a pretty good position, a pretty good spot at the moment. It's just a matter of how they utilize this time that's been given to them due to this pandemic. How are they going to best kind of reestablish themselves and figure out a better formula? Because all of 2019, their formulas seemed to be working, but we noticed that Epicenter, teams were starting to get used to Walk 6 shenanigans, Walk 6 aggression, and Rob's ability to clutch. So I think teams are starting to figure it out, but I think Mousesports still, I mean, their skill ceiling is just so high.
It's super high. I mean, this is a team that we've seen beat Astralis. We've seen, lose to Fanatics at the same time. So it's not like they can't hang with the big dogs. But for Mousesports, I'm not sure where the fire went. It just seems like it just went out one day, and then we sort of find ourselves reeling in, well, what's going on with this international lineup? They posed quite a bit of promise in terms of some of the successes they have. They go and win a Pro League. Kerrigan does it on Denmark. It's a beautiful storyline, but then it just sort of tapers, and I'm not even sure how to diagnose this one, Halvor.
It's a tough one for sure, because as you said, right, like they end up getting to the finals of a Pro League season, and then they start off I guess their qualification or their road to Rio with losses to North and Movistar, which is not exactly what you'd expect out of them. They also have a bit of a struggle versus a Contact, a team that they should have no problems facing. So for them, it's just they're in a funk. I'm not necessarily worried about the Mousesports long term. I don't think there's any reason to look at it and think like, oh my god, they need to make lineup changes or anything to that effect. But I think right now they're just kind of that big animal that's a little bit wounded. So all the small critters around are going to take advantage and kind of just make the run for it and see if they can get past them in the group.
Or, Christine, it is a small animal and larger animals, because, I mean, a mouse, come on, it's not that big, right? So
they can be massive, man.
I thought you were talking about Oboe and Blame F. Small animal, large animal. I thought that's where you were going, Trace.
That is something, too. I can see that. There's sort of like a rhino and a gazelle there. I could understand. But, yeah, what I'm saying here is within Mousesports is it's like, for this team, I think it's only fair if we let them speak for themselves.
It's going to be good to play against Complexity because we have been just playing in practice. So it's going to be a good test for us also to play against them because we are a bit struggling to play in online. So we're just going to prepare full against Complexity like we do against Astralis or some different top-tier teams.
The same though, he's on that bomb train now. He could try and contest. They're going to push together. Voxic's going up the ladder and he's got so much damage done. It's frozen. Ice in his veins. And in favor of G2. Excuse me, I'm sorry about that.
As a team play and as a individually, I think we have one of the best teams in the world. So I cannot compare Complexity, like our individual skills and team play, because I never faced them in official. But if you compare about individual, we have maybe one of the best ones.
He's done it. The ace clutch from Frozen.
Oh, I can't believe it.
Oh my goodness, I'm so...
So it's gonna be a good game, I promise.
Now that's a promise, and that's not something that we get every day around here, especially on air. How do you guys feel about his promise?
I mean, we're going to hold him to it, right?
Yeah.
We're going to call him out if he doesn't deliver at this stage. But yeah, no, I'm hoping for a good game. I think it's interesting as well, the fact that he talks about, I guess, the transition for them obviously being a bit of a LAN team and now having struggles online, which is something that we know can obviously bring funky results. But considering, I guess, their upbringing, if you think about the individuals in the team, I'm surprised that they haven't, I guess, adjusted better. Like Rob's FPL,
Yeah.
Foxic, played in Hellraisers, which is pretty YOLO. And I mean, all those kind of things, like they should equate to a pretty solid team, even online. But yeah, no, it's a bit of a weird one.
Speaking of YOLO, Halvor, I've got an example of YOLO. Have you ever heard of the idea of like throwing spaghetti against the refrigerator? Are you guys familiar with that?
Oh, obviously.
Christine, not so much an American thing, perhaps?
I don't think so.
Okay, so like the idea there is if the spaghetti sticks to the refrigerator, the noodles are ready. So in this essence, it's like if you look at what complexity is, that is sort of a melting pot of all sorts of players. This is now an international lineup. They've come together. They've shown that they can compete, but moreover, they are from all over the place. Let's talk a little bit about this lineup that we have at hand featuring BlameF.
Yeah, they are all over the place. And I mean, right now, I think they've kind of lucked out. I think if you can view it in that manner, they're stuck over in Europe, but they are in Denmark, which is where two of their players are from. And now they get to kind of have this extended long EU boot camp, which is something that a lot of NA players, I mean, they could only wish for. So it's kind of luck in disguise, a blessing in disguise. And I mean, the young players on Complexity and Oboe and Config and Poison, these three have absolutely turned heads since Blast Premier when they kind of upset Astralis at that tournament. But since then, since those two big wins that they found themselves in London, they haven't won any big matches. Although they've been grinding out matches, attending online tournaments here and there, like the Home Sweet Cup, getting first places and winning out those matches. These are a different quality, a different caliber of type of teams than the top teams of the world. So although they're winning the matches that they should be winning, they're not winning any upset matches of any sort at the moment.
Yeah, and oddly enough, there's only one major champion in the server right now. Either way, we're going to hear from the side that features him, and we're going to do it right now. What does Complexity got to say?
I think facing Mousesports is a pretty decent matchup for us. Like lately, they have also been struggling a bit, and we have done the same. But obviously, they have had a little bit more practice than we had. We had some officials here like a few days ago, but other than that, like both teams have had a little bit of time to prepare.
Damage so far. He's going to find a bomb here. That goes down. 35 seconds.
Huge.
They can actually do this.
Yeah, now for the first time this map, Astralis are going to be flustered.
Hopefully, both the teams will be ready to show some bit of Counter-Strike that we did in the last tournaments, as we both went out of the road to Rio pretty early on. I think like Kerrigan is an IGL that I get inspired a lot by, so I know a lot of the stuff already beforehand, because we honestly watch a lot of the demos and stuff. So it's definitely like a fun matchup going into it. Like we know a lot about them before we even go in and watch the demo, so that's pretty funny. But yeah, we definitely have some new stuff before each tournament, and hopefully that will showcase in this one.
They've got a few flashes. There's no way Astralis could win
How
this
do they
round.
win this round?
There shouldn't be a way.
And that's it converted. Nice work from Blame. It was all him at the end of the day.
The way we like to play, or try to play these, is like a bit more structured, where I think Kerrigan is very known for like being very explosive and mid-round calling and being very unpredictable in that sense. So I think it's hard to match up teams like that. I think it's more like who plays better as a team that's going to win this game, not the individual. Yeah, I think it's a pretty good matchup, and I think we definitely have a decent chance of winning it.
Now, I did say a major champion was in the server. I was not trolling. And yes, it's true. We do have Rush in the server. That's going to be the player that I want to begin to focus on, or at least for the side of Complexity. This is a guy that has that veterancy and that you would expect to be able to kind of transfer some of that outwards. And from what I'm hearing, it's not just him, it's also BlameF.
Yeah, definitely so. And Rush is one of those players that have had such a high in his career. As you mentioned, Trace, he's a major champion, but he's been at the lows as well. And right now, he's kind of re-identified himself within this complexity lineup. All of his teammates value him really highly, put him up on a pedestal because of all the work that he puts in. It's not all about the frags. It's not about what's on the scoreboard. It's what he's providing for his teammates, the utility, the baiting, the bait and switch, just a lot of value that he brings to this squad that we don't necessarily always see, but his teammates speak very highly of him.
Of course. And Halvor, what's your take now? I mean, obviously, we've discussed the fact that he is a major champion, but where does that leave him, and where does that leave Complexity, moreover?
I mean, like, again, I think way too many people jumped on the bandwagon that Rush was done as a player. Obviously, obviously it's going to be tough to, I guess, relive old heights and win another major. That's tough for pretty much anyone in the game. But I think it goes back to what Christine mentions, right? The fact that he's such a valuable team player. For him, I think it's more of a matter of being able to sure, he can, I guess, improve his individual level a tiny bit, but I think as long as Complexity are working as a squad, a lot of it has to do with what he's willing to do for them as well. He plays a lot of pretty vulnerable positions, I guess, where he's often left to his own devices. He doesn't necessarily get the backup, or rounds are not built up around him. So I think he does a fair job in that sense. But obviously, I kind of wish to see him where he would be able to elevate his level, I guess, consistently a little bit more often than what he's been doing as of the last maybe like 2-3 months, because we know he has it in him. He still is like an excellent player.
Yeah, and that's something that I know Christine is going to be hot to trot to just see that if he's got that in the server, if Complexity have that in the server. I know that Christine and I, and even you, Halvor, grew up at a time in a basically a house where Complexity was one of the only names, one of the only billboard names up there alongside of a 3D for the side of North America. Now, to see Complexity still in this bout is awesome. Now, will they be in the bout after the map vetoes? That's what I want to kind of talk about now as we situate ourselves right there on the cusp of understanding what we're going to be watching here in this best of 3. Mousesports in one corner, Complexity in the other, and 3 maps laid out across them. It's going to be Inferno, it's going to be Dust 2, and we're going to decide this whole thing on Nuke.
Honestly, I'm liking this if I'm Complexity. Like, if you go back to the most recent matches that Mousesports have played, they've been banning out Inferno quite a bit, but now knowing that they're going up against Complexity, who pretty much play Mirage as if it was, their living, or that was the only thing they knew how to do, they're kind of forced to ban it out, even though they probably would have been okay playing that map versus a fair few other teams. So I think Complexity actually gets a bit of a leg up. They also know how to play Dust 2 pretty properly, and Nuke as a decider, well, that's been their second go-to map in most scenarios. So if I'm Complexity, I'm loving how this kind of panned out.
Yeah, I have to agree with you, Halvor. I'm very much surprised. I thought that Mouse had every advantage coming into this veto process, especially with the fact that they can absolutely float that overpass. Neither of these teams play overpass, but Complexity were to be the team to bite, and they absolutely did. But this Inferno pick, or not veto, that's worrisome. That's really worrisome.
Yeah, and I suppose that there's several worries, and it's not even just so much as around the headshots in the server. I think when you guys put into perspective of maps, you make it a whole new level of terror. Can we go into any of that into any more depth?
A level of terror?
Yeah,
I don't know about the level of terror, but I mean,
sounds like a level of terror.
Train is, I expected Train to be popped out from Mousesports. I mean, Mousesports, it's their go-to map, it's their best map, but to see them leaning towards that Dust 2, which is a map that all teams are very proficient on, which is the definition of upset map, it's strange. But I have to imagine Woxic is feeling himself. Rops, he loves Dust 2. He loves to lurk around in those lower B tunnels and find openings in that manner. So maybe Mousesports have put in a lot of work on Dust 2, and they're just feeling really confident.
Speaking of putting in work, Christine, that's what I want to ask the viewer at home to do. Not only to get over on Twitter and use hashtag DHMasters and let us know how you're watching the game or what you're thinking about the game. Hell, maybe you even have some questions for us. We could show those on stream. But I want you in Twitch chat using hashtag Mousesports or hashtag Complexity to let us know who you think is going to win our Twitch poll, because we go to a break, we come back, we have our maps, we have everything we need to get this party started right here at the DreamHack Masters Spring 2020. We'll be right back, y'all. No need to be alarmed, everybody. No need for the screams or panic. We are ready to jump into our first best of 3 of the day. And it's going to be Mousesports taking on Complexity. And for some reason, the name Mad Lions just keeps wanting to like slip on out. And I'm not entirely sure why that is.
Match.
Oh, yeah, that might be.
We're getting there.
That might be exactly why it is that. But we've got our maps. We know where we're playing with Complexity and Mousesports. We also have the results of our Twitch poll, which we can begin to take a look at. So just to see, where Twitch is at today, what they're feeling like. Nobody really asked them how they're doing. They're saying they danced like 9,200 songs. Ain't nobody really trying to figure out how they feeling. So how are they feeling? Looks like Mousesports.
Yeah, it looks pretty
By
heavily
a large
Mousesports.
margin.
Yeah, I will be honest, I was expecting a little bit more of a sway. I guess it's early in the morning for those, NA supporters, like Obo and Rush fans might be still in bed, almost like you, Trace. But no, I expect
Can't
the
prove
Bronx to be...
anything.
I can't prove, but, I've heard. Rumors are a great thing to go off
No.
of. No, but I kind of expected it to be more of a 60, 40, 55, 45 type of thing, because I think Complexity have a legitimate chance at winning this.
Yeah, and interestingly enough, I think that you're onto something right there. Let's quickly wrap that up into some predictions before we get the casters in here, and I don't want to take too long doing this. Christine, it's going to be hard going against a North American component or a legacy brand that is Complexity, but where does your heart and brain lie? Where's it at?
My brain lies here with Mousesports. I think Mousesports have every tool necessary to close out this series. And I hope that it's in convincing fashion, actually, just to showcase that, we have been working on that Dust 2 and they're feeling confident. But I have to agree with Halvor. I do think Complexity have every chance to make an upset here.
Halvor, you got about 5 seconds to make me a believer. Ready, go.
I think Complexity is going to win, Trace, and that's all you need to know.
Ooh.
Wow, keeping it short, sweet, and simple. I think that you're crazy and that Mousesports should be able to take this, albeit I do love the components they have over there. Complexity, I love the players, blah, 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 blah. One team that I find myself not necessarily enthralled with or in love with by any means, but it's sort of like a brotherly sort of love, if that makes sense. It's a different kind of love. We're going to go ahead and bring in our casters, our commentators, as they prefer to be called, as an official title. Thank you so much to both Halvor and Christine. We're going to go ahead and bring in Harry and Hugo, looking sprightly this morning. And, of course, Harry doing his best Butler impression. Thank you very much for this, kind sir. Do appreciate that little bit of coffee there. Gentlemen.
Did you get the baklava I gave you, Trace?
I had one, and then your running mate had a baklava as well. And speaking of something so sweet, you can taste it. You know what I'm thinking of?
Is it this matchup, Trace? Is that what you're thinking?
Indeed, that's the one. Raise the roof. Let's go. Let's get this one started. This best of 3 ready to go. Mousesports and Complexity. Take it away, Harry and Hugo.
Yeah, cheers, man. Oh, dude, we get to start Group B today, Hugo. Mousesports taking on Complexity, and I cannot wait. I'm really looking forward to seeing what the Mousesports camp can bring to the table, right? Because I think it's fair to say the road to Rio was a little bit underwhelming for Mouse. And when I say a little bit, I mean a lot of it. And I don't think that it was where they wanted to be whatsoever. I'm hoping that in this series today and here at DreamHack, that they can make a deep run. They can actually show us why we put so much stock in this team to begin with, because let's not forget, the Pro League, these guys did fantastically.
Yeah, for sure. They're in the final back-to-back seasons as well against Fnatic. And for Complexity, I mean, this has been a great team to watch. Obviously, on LANers, they have had their troubles online. They have struggled in these online games. But winning back-to-back home sweet home cups while stuck in Europe here has actually put them in a very good spot. They've beaten a lot of good teams. And right now, they're looking to add Mousesports to the tally. Can they do it, though? It's going to be a big question. Look at this pistol buy. Mousesports have no Kevlar on the CT side of Inferno. They've gone for full utility. 4 HE grenades, 2 CZs, a kit on Wox, 3 smokes. This is despicable. Wild.
Yeah, I haven't seen a CT buy like this.
So what Fnatic do a lot is they will do what Frozen and Karrigan are doing on the B bomb site. And they'll essentially play retake on B with double nades, and they'll nade the coffins when the planter goes for it, and then set up for a really quick retake. Mousesports aren't doing that. They're playing in the site, but they are at least taking similar ideas from that sense.
Yeah, this is still a very heavy amount of utility, and let's see if this little, we'll call it the Fnatic setup over at B is going to work. The nades do more than their fair share of damage, my word. Karrigan now with softened up targets ahead, not actually able to find anything. It's poison to deal with him. Frozen almost getting that trade, but not quite. damage has been done. All these nades have been thrown, and the first 2 nades look stellar, but these next 2 that have gone out, you don't really have anything to show for if you're Mousesports, and all this utility is now gone. So, it's the mowdown.
Yeah. This is the complexity I wanted to see today, Harry. I'm not going to lie. Like, very confident pistol round, everyone fighting. And those CZs, I thought they were going to be really, really good for Mousesports, but stuck in retakes, stuck in post parts, they are not the guns you want to be clearing sites back up with. And Glocks, USPs, crossfires, Config with 2. That's an excellent pistol round for complexity. Config has really been on a tear. He has been unbelievably good for this team as of late. And so I think that's going to be the biggest threat to Mousesports' success in this series. Still the favorites, no doubt about it. But complexity, they aren't sleeping at the wheel today. Pistol round taken on Inferno, on their map pick here in the series. And Rush, he's going to drop Woxit, getting aggressive in ult as well. Rops is going to follow, and he will succeed in his attempt. Config naded down to 9. Good grenades from Mousesports to put complexity on the back for at least a little bit. Mousesports still only have a solo B player in the form of Frozen with a smoke. One lurk in apartments might hit all of these rotations here from Mousesports, but the timing is bad. Rops has just moved in, and nice shot. Rops, man, he won't stop. He's on his second. Complexity wanted to go A. Now they have to commit into the stack.
Yeah, it's going to be Frozen and Chris J here to try and hold on to this B bomb site, and they do have a bit of a crossfire. There's this one-way through smoke throwing down. And that's going to give a bit of a gap for Frozen to peek through. Now we have the utility for complexity. Config looking like he wants to lead the charge, and at 9 points of health, that's quite the risk to run. But maybe not. Yeah, maybe he's just going to shut down Frozen immediately. Chris J can't find anything through the smoke or through the wall, despite his best attempts. And this might be the second round on the board for complexity. Rops has done a good job of getting it close. But just him left now in the clutch. He would need to ace this at a 1v3.
Yeah, there was so much util for complexity that they can just go for 2 executes there on B, right? They lose Oboe and apartments after they throw a volley of utility towards the B bomb site. That close wall smoke and the CT smoke. Mousesports don't do anything. It goes silent. And complexity, who were going to just back off after throwing those fake util, just recommit. They wait 10, 15 seconds. They wait for Mousesports to start, realizing the complexity could be anywhere on the map. And then, Coffin, CT, re-smoke down by the second wave, and complexity just burst into the bomb site. Another strong round for Config with 3 kills. Considering he was put down to 9 in the opening seconds of that round, that's a pretty impressive one for him. Rops, though, big D shots in this one. It doesn't really have too much weight in the round, and Mousesports still won't be buying. So complexity, a chance to go 3-0 up. Do they realize that, though? Yes, okay, good. But the guns will be bought up. There were a couple of Glocks in play. I was wondering, you don't want to take that risk against a Mousesports who love to put money into these rounds. They've got grenades, they've got util, they've got a MAC-10 on Rops. Certainly a way Mousesports can at least make this round expensive for complexity. Or even more so.
Ooh. Oboe, his turn now, but will he be ready for just how many players lie in the apartments? Well, actually, they don't. They've actually run on out. They've escaped. The rest of complexity setting up outside of B, and Mouse, look at this. They have really called for this rotation, one by one. They rotate around towards this B bomb site, and they will have this 4-man stack here. Now, if you're complexity, you've still got a minute. You don't need to commit to this push just yet. But it feels like they're going to. Oboe's left the apartments, and so giving up all that control means complexity. They're going to go for this B play. They do check the boost. They do deal with Frozen. Oboe, Poison, and Config all getting kills in a matter of moments. And so this is going to be the round going in favor of complexity. Rops is going to try and hold on it to a MAC-10.
Yeah, you can see how quickly complexity tried to run away from Rops there, right? He pushes ult and he gets a kill with that MAC-10 rather, and complexity immediately on the minimap just sprint away back towards B. And luckily that was empty. There was only Carrigan there for Mousesports. And while Mousesports throw in a full rotation, Blame, I like that entry work, right? He jumps, he checks, not only the close boost, but the second oranges boost and the new box boost very safely. And then he looks towards the CT boost where Frozen sits. Those rounds only really fall apart when you don't check the CT boost inside of the spawn, because a player can let 2 players cross, get all that information, see the bomb, and then take 2-3 kills at times, even with pistols. It can be so valuable. So big check from Blame. He doesn't let Mousesports get away with that eco round, and now after a couple of bleeders, we're going to have Mousesports finally investing. Even so, Roxic's on the AWP, and we're not going to have one yet out for Complexity, so that's certainly going to be exciting to watch. Rob's still taking his Mac 10. I don't blame him. He's looked very warm in the 3 rounds that we've seen him play. Let's see how this Mac 10 works out for him.
Early on, Frozen and Carrigan are certainly looking to extend down the banana a little bit. They really want to try and take over this side of the map. Made him response, and that's going to bring Carrigan down very low in the early stages of this round. Still only Carrigan over here towards B. And that's even as this top banana area has been taken away from Mousesports. You'll see that Woxic on the minimap there is now rotated over into this speedway position. But with no one inside of the A bomb site, Woxic is still, no one inside of the A bomb site looking long. Woxic is still forced to hold speedway, so he's not going to be available on like an instant rotation here. And this means Carrigan, he's got to hold the line, because this push looks like it's going to come on through. Woxic has begun to rotate round, and now he meets up with Carrigan and CT.
Nice.
Bit of damage done, but still no kills. And CT control taken here by Complexity. Woxic in this smoke, and he's trying to play around with it, but to no avail. Bomb plant found, and a 4-on-3 in the post plant. Poison. There we go. He does get it eventually. I don't really know how, but he does.
He just taps Harry and hits both shots, and then he just bursts and finishes off the job. Like, what? Okay. Dear, oh dear. Complexity, that's a clean round. That's a 4th found, and that's a free AWP gifted. Obo's even going to drop it. Does he save it, or does he throw it out the map here? Do Complexity want that in this T side? That's a question. He's trying to give it to Poison. Oi, take it. There we go. Finally, we'll pick it up and escape towards a spawn. Complexity go 4-0 up. And I think it's good to see them feeling confident on Inferno, right? This has been a very safe map for Complexity for some while now. They've always picked into it. They've been really good. They've taken down some of the best teams in the world on this map. And, at the same time, while they've had highs, they've also had lows. Think about the EU minor qualifier that Complexity played in. They lose their BO3, their qualifying BO3 in the 3rd map to Smash on Inferno, a map that Complexity certainly should have won, but as said earlier, they've had troubles online. Right now, those troubles are not apparent. 4-0 up. Rops is almost ecoing with just a deagle. We see Mousesports do this a lot. Chris is commonly a player who does this, just runs a pistol, specifically the deagle, into a rifle round, looking for a free upgrade, trying to save some money. And I kind of like it. The deagle is so powerful right now that, you can't get a value out of it. Blame, he's going to catch Carrigan pushing down. Carrigan didn't realize the logs was controlled. And grenades back for Blame to try and keep Frozen back. He should retreat. No utility towards B. Mousesports 3-on-5 right now. And Complexity don't even need to play aggressive. Look how passive this mid setup is between Rush and Obo. What that will mean is Mousesports can gamble towards B with 3, and that's a really safe call considering how consistently Complexity have executed into this site.
It's a big boy gamble, isn't it? Really is.
Have we had 5 B rounds? I was just trying to, sorry farting in, Harold, 4 B rounds. Because I was wondering why Mouse was doing this stack. It's based off of 4 in a row for Complexity.
Yeah, you fully understand why they've done it, but this bomb has already edged its way out into mid, and Obo, him just holding on to this top mid control, he never heard anything that would have alluded to players being present here, and so they've just slid right into A. For Mousesports, you're bang on, Hugo. It's just been these endless B plays, so they're pretty right in the assumption to just stack this B site. However, In this one instance, Complexity have decided to go towards A, and that is the effect of conditioning your opponents. I think if you're Complexity there, you're kind of anticipating that in this 3-on-5, if you were going to put more bodies towards either bomb site, if you're Mouse, you've only seen B plays, you've only had to worry about B plays, so you're going to do it at B. And they read that, they now go towards A, they'll get this 5th round on the board, and while 3 players stay alive, that's actually all right for Mouse. They get another chance at the buy in this round here and now. It's helped out by Rops only playing the Deagle in this round, so he's able to invest. Chris could drop one over to Carrigan. You get another chance here if you're Mouse, but this is already a great T-side start for Complexity.
Yeah, and I think, you know, for all in-game leaders who like T-side Inferno, the call has got to be there for Blame. He's ready for that round. The Mousesports are going to triple stack B, and he can elevate the pace on A, right? With all these B conditioning rounds, that's always such a good call. I don't know if that will happen in the short term, though, because Mousesports have been taking banana control in these rifle rounds, right? Complexity often defaulting mid and apps, coming back to B later in the round. So it's not like, you know, Mousesports have the need to stack B early, and they're not going to do it. So, yeah, back to another standard round here for Complexity. They've got the AWP on Poison. Woxic flashed out of middle early, can't take that fight, and Poison owns the middle area. Mousesports succeed with a bit of banana utility, but they don't put too much stake in it. They actually hold a double nade setup towards B, throwing it in late, finding nothing. Complexity want that A site, and they will flash their way through middle.
Oh, and Woxic blinded off the angle, not able to connect a shot. Now it's to just go through the motions. Backs up to Arch. He goes through each and every little firing position. He'll take a shot here, and now likely fall back and just hold down this angle. He's going to move into Library to keep an eye on long. Top mid control taken for Complexity, and you can see how resistant Mousesports are to the idea of rotating, right? Just because so many of these rounds have opened up with a bit of mid control taken by Complexity and then falling back into a B play, but that's not looking like the case this time around. There's no one holding on to Banana, and Rops is going to spot the armada of Complexity players over its short side, but it might not matter. The site's already fallen. It's a 4-on-3. Once again, the man advantage for Complexity. And it might just have to be another save call for Mousesports. The old, like, kind of jokey name for these guys on Inferno was Save Sports, because they used to love a save on this map. Well, here they are, Hugo, saving on this map.
Funny how that works, Harry. Worth noting, Mousesports are on a 6-loss streak on Inferno, a map they rarely play anyway, or rarely pick into, is a better way of saying it. And those losses, I mean, some of them, you know, understandable. Against Astralis twice, Fnatic once. Some of them less so. Movie Star Riders, Contact, OG, they got 16-2'd by. So it doesn't bode well for Mousesports in this best-of-3 series to see Inferno come through, especially with, you know, the question mark that the analysts brought up of Dust 2 being the next map. Yes, best map for Mousesports in terms of the numbers, in terms of, you know, maps played and win rate, but Complexity also love that map, and so you're just playing into their favor. Again, we've seen Complexity beat top teams on Dust 2. So, Mousesports, they've been a top team. They've been at the top indeed in 2019. But right now, they've really had their troubles coming into this year, at least after Pro League. Damn, Robson Frozen, clutch kings for the side of Mousesports. Right now, they need anything they can get, but as is often the case on Inferno CT side, you're not going to get many clutches off, because if a bomb gets planted, it's save time. It's Jame time for Mousesports, and now they've pulled their investments, they pulled their cash, and they will be buying back up into round number 7. Complexity yet to drop around on this D side, and they have no plans of doing that now.
Oh, that nade does a lot of damage into top mid, but Robs is going to get out of there. He's kind of realized what's coming his way, and Complexity, they have really kicked this round up a notch. Now, in amongst all of this, Woxic's got aggressive into the apartments. Frozen's pushed down the bottom of mid, so Mousesports, they know what's going on. They know what's coming their way, but it's not helped them in the grand scheme. Thankfully, that kill from Woxic and the follow-up has now put it in their advantage. And Mousesports might be about to get their first round here and now. Blame F in the clutch, and he's not able to find Woxic up in the apartments. This fast apps play from the Turkish AWP yields some results for Mousesports. He's going to put that first round up on the board. Coming back in from deep second mid, he'd gone all the way through the apartments.
Ooh.
That was a sick flick at the end, man. It didn't look that good from Blame F's perspective, but dude, seeing it from Woxic, that was nuts. All right, let's go.
Yeah.
I absolutely, man, like Woxic was always a great AWPer, you know. I absolutely love that he's found success in international lineups towards like this stage of his career. And Carrigan going aggressive down through mid in this round. Actually only good for one. I thought he was going to chain together a little bit more, but somehow Config is just doing a great job of overstaying his welcome down here at Banana. Now there is Chris J hidden close, but Chris J is trapped by that. Oh my goodness! Config only had 2 shots left in the AK, and he puts up the kill. I don't know, man. I wouldn't want to go anywhere near him right now. Config is in scary CS mode. We haven't seen this from him in a while. Look, he's looking for even more. Woxic, don't go around the corner. Please, I beg of you. Config's not in the mood to miss right now. He's on 3, and this 4th has just been delivered to him. On for the ace. Rops is going to go save, so probably not going to give it over. But this is a scary-looking Config. This is a Config that shows up in this server and just dominates. This man does hold the record for kills in regulation. So
for an online map.
Yeah.
And what is this, Harry?
An online map.
There you go.
I mean, I guess his is like technically, yeah, like, okay, yeah, online. Yeah, no, wait, that makes sense. But also just the most overall.
Funnily enough, it was, the most overall, but you know.
But online,
but
yeah. But LAN is like weighted higher.
The LAN record is 44. That was Crim's at Pro League Finals last year. This is in regulation, I'm pretty sure. And then Config did 47 in Overpass in the DreamHack. Oh, can't remember which event. I think it was a DreamHack qualifier. I casted it with Dust. I remember this was years ago. DreamHack qualifier was Overpass many years ago. He was playing for Optic. So, yeah, 47 kills. That's certainly not bad. And Config, he's looking pretty damn fiery, if I can say so myself. Let's see if he can keep up this appearance here on the T side. 7-1 up, 12-3 on Config. The orbs are indeed about. Chris is going to molly mid, yet to kill. Those grenades are good, though, and they'll put Poison down low. We saw a bit of a mid-push last round from Carrigan. He gets away with 1 before the punishment was found. Mousesports, they will be bringing aggression, but it's only down Banana. Carrigan very keen once again to take this control, but he will give it up as quickly as he takes it. Not wanting to hang around, knowing how hard holding the Banana can be. And you can already see Complexity. They nade logs, they molly it, they're being very careful. They're making sure the Mousesports don't have players deep down this area. Double bait and switch setup on long side with Woxic on the AWP as well. Complexity, though, they are just defaulting towards mid naps. They are more focused on taking B than anything in this round. Rush might give away a kill here in the boiler. There is a player above the Juliet balcony, a good off angle for Rops. The Rush, he ain't falling for it. They rotate back towards a for Complexity. They leave Banana. Again, with how fast these rotations can be on Inferno, they can change their hearts and minds at a moment's notice, but right now Cole are looking like they want that A site. Re-smoke for Rops at a good time. He's going to drop with it. Smoke towards short and Complexity. Here they come.
Yeah, it's another one of these long wraps for Complexity. They've been able to get away with a lot of movement over here towards long, and now they look to get in. See, look, there you go. There's the reconsider. They changed their minds, and Moto Smoke has come in, and now they slow right down, and it's curious. They definitely could have tried splitting B, but with no Banana control, they just decide to commit to A, and they try and run the gauntlet here. Rush is going to deal with Rops, but there's only 7 seconds left. This bomb has got to get planted, and it's got to get planted now. Woxic could deny the entire round, and it's the no-scope through the smoke that makes it so. Blame F even going down after time. That's a little bit devastating there if you're Complexity. Mousesports do a good job at holding onto their utility to just hamstring that play to come down into the final, 10, 15 seconds of the round.
That's a great round for Mousesports, and that's because Complexity have already run it, right? Mousesports are trying to adapt, they're trying to learn on the fly, and these are very weird rounds that Counter-Strike Complexity are giving us, right? Like 5-man long rushes, trying to flank Moto to A-site. It worked in the past until Woxic shut it down, and Complexity this time it doesn't work either. Mousesports put that Moto smoke at the 20-second mark, and that is everything, right? Complexity can't go through it. They know there could be an AWP pit. They have to go back round, and at that point they get hamstring for time. Now Mousesports have come alive. What is this? A flawless round so far. Blame alone. Mouse just find 4 kills out of nowhere, and well, you'll take that every day of the week. Blame's going to look for whatever he can get here out of the boiler. He's being held alongside by this AWP, so if he goes through this doorway, it should be to his demise. Ooh.
Oh. I wouldn't want to go out again. I wouldn't want to take that peek again, man. You just, you know who's fired that up. You know who's looking at Boiler. Blame F. 1v5, and he does put up the first, but there's the trade swiftly from Frozen. So Mousesports starting to stumble back to their feet with an F, and their third, that's with a TH, round on the board. Starting to see a little bit more confidence returning to Mouse, which is good. You know, no longer just hiding back in these bomb sites and kind of giving Complexity the room to work with. That round there, they pick up the pace. It's a little bit worrying. Chris J still yet to frag, but there's always time for this man to turn it around. The nades have been good for Mouse. That's something I think we have to give them credit for in spite of this very good scoreline for Complexity. They've been able to get away with so much util damage in the opening of these rounds, and this one is no exception. Already 3 players brought down low by these nades. Now, this is a bit of a weird one in the apartments. They're about to start to pressure Woxic, and you're very much reliant on, well, A, him hitting that shot, and B, Robs keeping his eye on Boiler. Now that he's lost Woxic, he's got to concede the halls. He's got to back away. And so this is apps control taken for Complexity. Something that's different to note in this round is that in the past, whenever Complexity have gone for these A plays, they've grouped all 5 players up here. And in this round, they haven't done that. Blame F is still waiting down towards T-Ramp and holding for any aggression. So this round right here could just be one of these A fakes with a late play back into B. And that's what it's looking like right now, Hugo.
You read it perfectly, Harry. The smoke on long denies the mid-info for Mousesports, but Karrigan is still there. And even though they're a 3A, he's just cleared that position. The smoke's faded. He's running back to B, calling that Mousesports should be ready for a B play. Frozen's dropped his smoke, and now the knowledge is there. Mousesports with almost a full rotation. Great read from Karrigan. Great information gained. Now Complexity, they don't know it, but they're walking into a full setup from Mousesports. Frozen playing close, that smoke fades, here they come, the flash is good, Frozen has to hide at the back of the site, denied by the wall smoke config with an entry onto Chris as well. Rush, he's found Karrigan, and Frozen inside of the site on his own can only find Rush. It's a single kill and nothing more. 10 seconds for the plant is enough time for Cole, and Rops won't stop it through the smoke. It's going to be a round for Cole once again as Mousesports look to save their one weapon. That's just how the cookie crumbles sometimes, even though they stack the site. Complexity, crucial entries, config with a big opening kill onto Chris, who still remains 0-9, yet to kill. And that's proven to be a bit of a problem for Mousesports.
See, this Complexity squad, I don't know about you, Hugo, but I really like this project, like the whole idea of it, right? I think that Blame F has like the potential to be one of the most exciting stories for like an individual
for sure.
in recent memory. Now, I can't think of a player who, when you think about the experience he had relative to the moves that were made and him going out to NA, right, to like head this juggernaut team as it was labeled, and the kind of moves that came off the back of that. I think it's also interesting, so cool. Like, I can't think of a player who just kind of rose up, didn't really have like the most experience under their belt, and was suddenly just entrusted with like the leadership of a team like this, right? Like, I can't think of anyone in this same position. No. Can you? And
no one is buff either, Harry.
No one looks like Blame F. Yeah. That is like the
most crucial part.
Yeah, man. Well, he's got the brains and the brawn, and very few have both.
Yeah, that is a good point. Obo was 9.
Makes you wonder, what is he lacking? You know, if he's got brains and brawn, gotta be something on there that's not going his way.
I don't know. I'm not going to work that one out. Gangnam Style was... Obo was 9 when Gangnam Style was released. That was a stat we just had. That makes me feel very old, Harry. But also...
I mean, how old were you when Gangnam Style
I don't know, not
released?
9. I don't think. Either way, I mean... Very accomplished player for such a young age. Obo, only 16 years old here for Cole. And stuck over in Europe. Harry, as we are both men who are stuck in another country as well. Obviously not another continent, rather, like Rush and Obo, but shout out to them for sticking through the tough times and playing in Europe and playing a lot of CS right now. I think that's why they're looking so good. They've been hounding these officials. So, more than well practiced are Cole. 8-3 up against Mousesports in a 3-man A setup. Cole have gone silent on B and come back towards A for a quick execute.
Yeah, looking to pick up the pace and hit him back inside of the site. We're looking at Chris J, Rops, and Carrigan to try and hold the fort. And while they've traded evenly, but they need a little bit more than that out of Chris J now. And he's not able to put up the numbers needed. Still, 0 kills to his name. 0-10 on Chris J, which is a little bit worrying now. Frozen and Woxic left in this 2v3 retake. And it's only Woxic left. This is probably another save here for Mouse. This is a pretty dismal beginning to Inferno. One that just looks to get worse and worse by the round. Woxic, nice shot there onto Poison, looking like he will get away with this AWP at the very, very least. But that's a pretty small consolation prize when you're 9-3 down. Complexity are just running the board, running this game.
It's certainly a grim reminder of where you're at if you're Mousesports, right? Like, it's not like you even haven't had rifle rounds. You've had plenty of money. You've been getting away with good saves. You've had Rops ecoing on the Deagle in rifle round, sorry, that's enabled buys. You know, you've had a lot of attempts here if you're Mousesports, but Complexity, even when they're going into stacks, even when they're going into 3-man bomb sites, regardless of whether that's A or B, they're seemingly always trading so effectively. I'm loving these executes. The smokes they throw on default on A not only give them the veil to plant the bomb, but allow them to cross and fight pit without having to be killed by a site player. In Mousesports, they're running a lot of site plays. Right now, Complexity showing us a masterclass on the T side of Inferno. 9-3 up. AWP for Woxic once more. Poison has got his. The money has been good for Cole, unsurprisingly. Even if that head-to-head on the AWP side has been so favorable for Woxic. I mean, every fight really has been favorable to Woxic.
Ooh, bit of an exchange and config. Okay, yeah, I was worried because like last time we saw him kind of looking good over at Banana.
I had my money on him hitting that second shot.
Yeah. It was getting worrying. Oboe and Rush and the rest of the gang, though. It's not B. That's not where they're looking to end up. Config was nothing more than a walking, talking, fragging decoy. And boy, now the rootin', tootin', shooting Cowboys over at the A-bomb site for Mousesports. They'll put this 4th round up on the board and actually keep the majority of players alive. Chris J, welcome to the scoreboard, old friend. 2-10. He puts up some numbers for us now. And that's always nice to see. See, maybe now that it isn't feeling like a 4-on-5, if Chris J can actually, you know, build a bit of confidence, because sometimes that's all it takes, right? Sometimes you just break your little vow of silence, and suddenly it becomes so hard to ever imagine that you were that quiet to begin with, right? So, Chris J, hopefully we can see him return to form, because, you know, I'm a big Chris J fan. I don't know about you. He's been like a long-standing Mousesports player now. He's been around the block, and you really love him. Usually pretty consistent within this squad.
That's a big stat. Mouse had over 1,000 utility damage in the first 11 rounds, but only had 3 to their name. I mean, that's this banana control, right? The amount of work that Carrigan and co have been throwing utility down B, getting great nades on logs. We even saw a great nade from Rops there. Short side hit 3 cold players. The util's been good for Mousesports. There have been good signs, but Complexity's brute force executes with, you know, 5-man setups, always grouping, never splitting. The only time we see Complexity split in an execute is where they send Config in B and they hit A as a team, and that's fine. Config keeps players there. He often gets a kill as well. So yeah, Cole have been 4 or 5-man grouping in every hit, and that has put them in a great position. Mousesports, util down banana, freeze up a rotation if they want, and they might need Chris spots a close player, good grenade once again coming through on the short side. It's going to put a bit of damage down the way of that 1 AK, and that's the only armor we have, so Rush has to keep onto that right now. Mousesports playing very passive, giving Cole room on long, but only for a bait and switch. Rops getting assists, and Chris and Frozen will pick up the kills. The AWP even fires off, and 1 by 1, Cole are going to fall in this round. Nothing to their name, not a single point of damage, but it was only an eco round with a hero AK. Now they can buy up for the last of the half. And Mousesports, they can recover here. The 6 rounds, it's not the end of the world, right? You get a pistol, you convert it, suddenly you're in the same boat as Cole. You're just on the harder side to convert. So let's see what happens here for Mousesports. They're still in this game.
Yeah, definitely still recoverable. And, you know, especially with a few key players starting to find their footing. One final hurrah for Complexity. One last investment here in round number 15 as they try and reach double digits before this half reaches its conclusion. And there is an early 3-man stack at B for Mouse. So there's a timing, there's a world in which Complexity kind of beat them to the punch at this A bomb site. Now, Carrigan has already arrived, so he's back in. And alongside him is Frozen. This is because they've set up Woxic with the AWP at Banana. It allows for this 4-man stack. Now, will these 4 players be ready for the sheer speed that Complexity are dishing out in this round? Because they are already in the pit. They are hidden in this wall of smokes. This is such a confusing round, but somehow, some way, Mouse are looking to come out on top. Now, whether or not it's going to stay that way, we've got to wait and see. But Rops certainly seems to think so. He's left it all on to Blame F, 1v3, and he can't get it done. Mousesports, they recover 6 at the end of the first half. This is still a close affair. Join us for the second in just a moment. Well, we've got a little bit of Mousesports taking on Complexity here to start our day. And currently, Hugo, as you can see, these Betway odds are split right down the middle. That's because this game is actually feeling a little bit closer now. Now, Complexity were kind of blowing Mousesports out of the water early on. The Mousesports, they've righted their wrongs, and now they move into this T side. They're looking to get back into this game.
Yeah, Blame's been dinked immediately on B. Config is hanging around. He's still here, and there's more utility for Mousesports on this pistol, much as there was on the CT side. This time, at least 2 Kevlar players. Cole have 2 more on B, and Mousesports, they're going for it. They're committing. Smoke's landing. Could use the same one that Cole used against them on the wall side. Blame F dropping one though. Obo here as well. Can't connect a couple of shots. The smoke is providing a bit of cover for Mousesports as they fire on through it, hitting the shots and pushing Blame to the back of the bomb site. This is falling apart for Cole. Blame needs to stay alive, but that P250 is lethal, and Rops makes good work with it. Rush on his own, been spotted. Plant can come through, and Mousesports at this point, it's a guaranteed round.
Yeah, so this game going to get even closer here with 7 now on the board for Mouse and a pistol going their way. They can look to build upon this to try and tie things up here in the second half. They deal with Rush at the very, very end. And, you know, now I'm kind of excited because in the beginning it looked like Mousesports, they maybe just woke up on the wrong side of the bed, right? A bit of a classic, you know, it takes you a few rounds to get into the swing of things. And to me, that's kind of even reinforced by the fact that, like, their utility was great. Their utility usage was unreal. But in terms of the head-to-heads, in terms of actually winning the aim duels, they were just losing them every single time, right? But now it's like, it feels like there's a bit more confidence, there's a bit more consistency on Mouse individually. And now this series has some real legs on it to get exciting, to get pretty fun to keep an eye on. And you can see a nade stack in this round for Complexity. Kind of curious what they're looking to do with it. 3 of them over here towards B, and Mouse are stacked up towards this side of the map. Config has been flashed into the 9s. He can't see anything at top Banana. Frozen does get tagged in the meantime as he tries to peek around this corner. That there was from the Eagle back here in CT spawn. So they will decide against that. They bow out from Banana. They back away. And now they have their eyes set over here towards A. Poison and Rush to go up against. And they're already out past Poison. They've already dealt with him. This A site sure is looking tantalizing if you're Carrigan and Co.
Yeah, I love the pace of Mousesports on these anti-ecos. Not waiting around, not letting these Deagles get comfortable, just speed. That's the aim of the game here for this T side. Bomb plant should be fine. Blame spots a player on long who didn't see him, but Frozen's not going to turn around anytime soon to give him the battle. So Blame might just be locked out of this round, it seems. No one even giving up a fight. It's only one rifle in play, so Mousesports want to play it somewhat safe. And, I mean, they're already exiting from the bomb site, apart from Chris, so feeling like this one is a lock-in. Chris is just making sure no one's rifling with the bomb, but Blame spamming with the D, using Chris's favorite trick against him, and he's going to hit the shot. Blame able to escape. He's being hounded down by another rifle. Woxic, oh, he does finish his job. And Mousesports, they'll rid the round of the eco. Now just comes one more for Complexity before the guns are available on the CT side. Mousesports are going to make it 9-9.
And I'm hoping that on this CT side, this is where we can see a bit more from Poison, right? Because he has been like a really exciting prospect to be keeping an eye on. He's another obvious EU import out into NA. Right now, Complexity, they're obviously in EU. Yeah. So that's kind of all flipped on its head. But yeah, he's a hot prospect. He's looked real good on this AWP. And obviously, T-side AWPing on Inferno, never fantastic, never too much fun. Let's see what Carrigan the Eagle can do. He's getting a little bit overwhelmed, but he's helped out. Oh, Frozen. These are just pistols for Mouse. I kind of love it. I love the dedication to running pistols in these rounds.
Just trying to save as much money as possible, right? Like, you know, they had 3 or 4 Mac 10s in that second round. Same story here. Like, not only are you making money, but you're saving money by not spending on rifles that you could easily lose, right? You could very easily die to nade stacks, to USP double dinks, to anything in these rounds. So, Mousesports reducing the costs that they have to invest in those risky rounds. And now, as a result, they can run bonus into this. Lack of armor and head armor is a big problem for Complexity in this round, considering there's a Galil and 2 Mac 10s in play.
Yeah, 3 of these players are vulnerable to it. And one of them is that AWP of Poison. He's set up over here towards Arch side with that AWP. So we'll keep him in the back of our minds. We don't have anyone for Mouse really going towards this A site just yet. So we're going to have to wait and see if that AWP gets to play into this round in a very big way or not. Interesting thing to note here is that Config and Blame F, the 2 players that currently reside in this B bomb site, neither one of them have smokes. So if a B play were to come through, they've got to stop this just on the back of these flashes and straight up gunfights. So that could be a potential liability for Complexity in this round.
To Bit of a B fake by the looks of things, running back out of Banana after throwing util. Karrigan might commit with his close wall smoke as he can get great value out of it, potentially in towards CT spawn if he beats the timing. And Complexity have actually rotated Poison out of long towards CT. Now he can still rotate Library here, but he is peeled away for a brief moment in time. Karrigan's dead on B. That's the fate gone. Mousesports have to commit, and Complexity have not fallen for it. There's still 3 here. Mousesports have gone quiet. This almost feels obvious from this point for Cole, and they have to play very safe indeed. Util going down. Obo, he's not got many kills, but he's got a lot of util. Would be nice to see some of that thrown out. And the Molotov will land after he takes a kill. Poison drops the bomb, and one by one, Mousesports are just falling apart in this round. They have barely any util. They're walking into a stack. The B fake was not even close, and Complexity just hold the line down to find a 10th round. It's a save for Mousesports.
Counter-terrorists win. Yeah, and a flawless round for Complexity. Oh, hello. Hey, Rush, how you doing?
We've had this camera for a couple of months now, so it's kind of cool, you know?
I like that they've kept it going. I wonder if he knows that we can see him right now.
I'd imagine so, Harry. Maybe not right this second.
Maybe not right this second. Just he gave us a little charming smile there. I imagine he was looking down the line at the rest of his team.
Yeah, maybe.
But regardless, his timing on that was impeccable.
His team are playing from home. The only people who aren't playing from home are Rush and Obo. They are in Denmark in a facility. So
in a facility.
In a of some sorts.
It sounds so ominous. Chris J out in top mid, and he's opened up onto Rush, who now he's just got to sit back in the facility and watch as Obo tries to pick up the pieces. Poison inside of the site with this orb. We've been waiting for him to get rolling. Let's see it now, Poison. Second kill. There's a man on balcony and Poison not ready, but he does get mopped up there by Obo in the site. Woxic and Frozen left in this 2-on-4. And once again, Mousesports, they are set packing from this initial push. This time they've got time going their way. And a nice shot from Frozen has opened up this B bomb site. They've got to pick up the pace though. And no smoke for the cross. They flash over, but Woxic does not survive the journey. Frozen left in this 1v3. He opened up this B-side take with a stellar shot onto Config. Now he's got to continue in that fashion to the very end of the round. There's a deep smoke in CT, and Frozen's trying to keep an eye on it. 2 players here make that just 1 as Frozen does strike 1 from the tally. That nade smoke has allowed a man to push up close, and Poison in through the banana will remove it. Complexity, an 11th round on the board. These CT rifles continuing to go their way.
Woxic throws a very high flash into CT on that B cross because Mouse don't have a smoke, and Blame was crouched in CT. That flash misses by a centimeter. It just avoids Blame's vision behind one of the parts of the ruins. And if that hit him, Blame probably wouldn't have got away with a kill. They would have fragged him, and Mousesports might have won that round in a 2-on-2 post plant. So that could have been a very, very different round for Mousesports, but a nice try nonetheless. 11 for Cole on their map pick, back in the lead. Not letting Mousesports equal up the scoreline here. Not again. Up by 2, and no warp here for Mouse. Back to the flat rifles, even a Galil on Frozen. Costs are greatly outweighing the availability of Flamers. Dropped a grenade down Banana to blow out Karrigan from the round. That's not the start that Mousesports wanted. Frozen does get the trade at the very least, but all it is a swap of an AK, and Mousesports, they swap the site, so they go back towards A. It feels like this T side has somewhat been that. Mousesports' initial plan's not working, and them having to bail to the other bomb site where Complexity are waiting. They certainly are this time. Blame is in CT. We've got Config on the coffins as well, and Mousesports are just going to group with 4 for a full B execute. If they can't win this round, then they're going to be in a lot of trouble. Even though they are a man down, like these are the ones, the BXX with Cole don't have a stack and they're giving you the site. These are the ones Mousesports need to win.
Oh, and this Molotov has already done a great job of denying this B play. It's cut the offensive in half, and everyone's just hung out to dry at Banana. Blame F. Looked like he was going to get flashed through there, but actually gets whited by his teammate, falls back, and just sets up for the retake. Now, I say retake, that's implying this bomb was ever going to get planted. However, Woxic took it back to Banana and tries to cross now that that smoke has faded. Rop's not even given a bomb plant in this one. And a 1v4 with 15 seconds left feels too good to be true, and that's because it probably is. Rop's might just want to think about going down at this point because he's running the risk of dying after time. Complexity are just holding, knowing that they don't have to peek yet. They swing on him. They give him that one kill. They're trying to get it. And that was literally as the timer hit 0. So I don't know. I don't think Rops did get money.
He has the same money as his team, so either he already had more money or he died before time.
That was so down to the wire that I don't know.
I think he did die before time. I think he was okay. Yeah, Poison right-clicks a flash and spawn. He was meant to flash flame through the smoke, but it's not the end of the world as Complexity win the round. And Mousesports, smoke's a bit of a problem for them, man. Frozen's already in the site, trying to beat the Molotov, but his CT smoke isn't down. And I understand he wants to beat the molly, but he's not looking at CT, and that smoke doesn't pop in time, and Cole kills him before it does. And then boom, Cole are a man up, and there's 2 men up, and then the smoke appears. It's like, okay, what can Mousesports even do? Like you said, Woxic, he crosses back to Banana, comes back with a bomb, smoke fades again, Mousesports lose a bomb, they lose a round. So yeah, I mean, Complexity kind of having it fed to them at times, it does feel. They'll take this though. 12-9 up on the CT side. Mousesports have to eco once again. This would certainly be a shame to see Mousesports fall this way after winning, clawing it back to a decent half and then winning the pistol and getting 9-9. They've been quiet ever since. Mousesports, they are 5 men up in the A site right now. No util to do anything. It's about dry fights, but that's where this AWP is going to be so effective for Poison and on the long side as well. Mousesports look tempted by it. They're going to jump around the corner. Poison hits the first, tries to follow up, but they're getting closer. He can't afford to give them this AWP. He could get, dangerous, but a 2-for-1 attack on the Carrigan, cleaned up by the pistol. Woxic will trade. That's his gun of choice, but Rush doesn't want to let him cross towards it. He will deny it. His teammate now on the site doing that instead. Rush can pivot and look at the apartments. Chris is there, and he's given away his position as well. Woxic with a kill. Still hasn't got that AWP under control. Chris is dead, and Rush denies the pickup of the AWP. Nice stuff from Rush. Doesn't let Woxic get into that round. And of course, Poison with 3 on the AWP. It's going to put Complexity in a nice dominant lead here. 13-9 up on the CT side.
Man, this is a Complexity that mean business right now. Mousesports, this could be their last real attempt at turning this game around. If they don't pick this round up, it might all be out the window. And Poison with some aggression into the apartments. Not something we've seen from him yet. And Rops certainly wasn't ready for it. That is an early man advantage taken. That is untradeable for Mousesports. They try and get the spam damage off as Poison exits through the apartments, but he's already gotten away. This one slipped through the net, whether or not Mousesports were ready or not. And now with this bomb retrieved, they're going to set up over here on Banana. They've completely given up this top mid and apps control. They never even attempted it after Rops has fallen. They try and flash Blame F into Banana. Now at the same time, a smoke has fallen at the top of B, but Mousesports, they've wasted absolutely no time in pushing through it. And that kill from Carrigan, that felt like a must-have. If they get that one, I feel like Mousesports could take this round because suddenly they've got an avenue into the site. They've got Gompig having to worry about CT and Banana. And with it not coming through, it's now a 3-on-3, but they've at least dealt with config inside of B. So a bomb plant is available to Mouse. They've got a chance. Ugh, it's not pretty.
Run.
You don't love it. And Woxic gets burnt very, very low, leaving the pool. This is still a scary round for Mowers, even with the bomb planted, because Complexity are here. They've been knocking on the door for a while, and they're kind of sick and tired. They're going to brute force their way in.
Yeah, Rush is really late here trying to clear out Banana, and that's why this is taking so long, but they're going to make contact first with Poison. He swapped out the AWP, and so Mousesports don't know Obo is also here. Rush is spotted, and he gets a kill. Doubles up. Rush just wins around on his own. No util needed. He has a full kit of util, and he just takes dry fights into B and closes out a retake versus Mousesports. Like, Complexity, they've got to be feeling good right now, because not even having to resort to what are safe plays, what are ways to guarantee rounds. They're just taking fights, Harry. They're just deathmatching, and it works wonderfully. Complexity, 2 away from taking their map pick in this series. Dust 2 is around the corner for Mousesports, but while it's a great Mousesports map, it's a great Complexity map as well. So Mousesports certainly have to be worried, wanting to try and pull this game back here still, but yet to win a T-Rifle round in this game.
forward. Poison back again with the aggression. This time he's going to catch Woxic. Down in ult mid, lining up a smoke no less. Woxic was not ready for that again. This aggression makes matters very complicated now for Mouse, and they spot rush. They're not quite able to deal with him up in the apartments. This is kind of horrible because Mouse, they clearly had a game plan, right? They had Woxic lining up utility. I think they were going to try and fast explode into this A bomb site. And now on the back of losing him, they're still committing to it. They're still trickling out into this top mid area. But it's taken a lot of the momentum out of this round. They lose one of their smokes. They lose the utility that Woxic had in a round that Mousesports didn't have everything in. And you look at what they've gained for it. Well, they're very much relying on just winning these fights straight up. And Blame F and Rush, they're doing a good job of holding this back right now. Blame F not moving. And a second kill found leaves all the pressure onto Rops in a 1v3.
Yeah, and I don't think he realizes he's killed everyone short side. He was looking at short for a second there, but a plant was available in that clutch.
I want to clarify something. I've seen a few questions from people, right? That little map graphic up at the top right of our screen, Hugo. I've seen people asking as to why like the higher seeded teams look like they get 2 picks. Not the case. It's because Mousesports were the last team to ban. And so therefore it says that they picked it up in that top right?
Yeah.
Because they had the choice of what map it went to.
There were 2 left.
They banned the last map. Yeah. So in a way, they kind of picked that, but it is just the decider map, right? It is just the third and final deciding map. Mouse had to say where it went to, and that's how they've been doing it here. But I've seen that, you know, I've been tweeted it. I've seen like a few threads about it, just asking. So there you go, just to tie that one together for anyone wondering.
Man, with all the answers here, Mousesports might want to recruit him. They need some answers right now. 15 rounds for Cole, looking to take us to Dust 2, push us over the line. Good spray from Blame, but they actually finds nothing. The bullets were there. Mousesports were hiding, flashed out. They will push again off the back of a flash, blinding Cole, but still losing their life, still losing the fight, and still losing the map. Woxic falls last, and that's 16 rounds to complexity on their map pick. 9 for Mousesports. Doesn't feel like nearly enough for Mouse, but they're going to head to their pick at least of Dust 2 moving forward. We're hoping Mouse can show up a little bit more moving into that second. But right now, Harry Cole, well, this online play for them in Europe, it's certainly paid off, it looks like.
Yeah, man. I mean, that was a really good-looking Inferno from the complexity, you guys. Blame F topping the charts, looking real good, right? He can lead, he can read, he can do it all, Hugo. And that's exactly what we wanted to see. Mousesports, they've certainly got their work cut out for them. That much is clear. And with Dust 2 on the horizon, a good map for both of these teams, this series feels like it's still got some mileage on it and still time to get exciting. So stick around for that second map and the Analyst Desk after a quick break.